Hey everyone, it's Christian here, and after a little bit of work, I'm back with another palm review here, and this time we're going to do Carpoxylon macrospermum, also known as the Anieytum palm, and that common name is rarely used, except for when seeds are being sold. Most people just call them Carpoxylon, or the Vanuatu palm, and it is from Vanuatu, which is a island chain near Fiji, a little bit southwest, I believe, is the proper direction there. And this palm was actually believed to have been extinct for about 100 years, and a botanist came upon them randomly, a grove of them in Vanuatu, and around 1987 was able to redescribe the whole the species. So it's a monotypic genus, meaning there's only one species in the Carpoxylon genus, and macrospermum just means large seed, and it does have a quite large seed. It's about the size of a I guess it's about the size of a regular chicken egg, maybe a little bit smaller, a little bit more elongated, and you know, they're decent. They're about 2.5 inches long, 1 inch wide, and I guess it's not as big as a chicken egg, but it's up there. And it has, what really makes this palm stand out, well, there's a couple things. One is it has this nice buttress, kind of flared trunk at the bottom, and it really gives it kind of the look of, like, say, a bottle palm, a Hyophorbe. And then the second is this very elongated crown shaft, and it really kind of gives it a magnificent, elegant look, as well as these arching leaves. Now this leaflet here is about to fall off the crown, but it is a crown shafted palm, so every time the old leaf falls off, it gives out, the crown becomes kind of this lime green color, and the arching is quite nice, and it's upright, it's rigid, and has that nice elegant look, which looks great in a garden. Now these probably should be more in cultivation. However, they do have some issues with with transplant and they often can get a rotting issue. But if you get them, you know, properly transplanted, they should be okay. If you get them in a pot, they'll be okay. So just make sure you get a healthy looking plant when you do go looking for them. Plants will run about $15 to $25 in a 3-gallon pot around here in South Florida. So look for that kind of price point. If you're paying more than 25, it's a little bit pricey. If you're getting for less than 15, then you're probably getting a good deal. Make sure you get a healthy one though. Ones that are stunted usually are not going to live. They eventually have some sort of rotting issue. So yeah, as far as the ease of growth, if you get the seed, it's actually relatively easy to germinate. Make sure that you soak the seed. Make sure it sinks. If it does not sink, if it floats, let it sit in water. You can let it sit for, I actually grew about 2,000 seed of this plant about 11 years ago, and there were not many around, and I got the seed and I put it in 2 trash cans, and they were all the seeds were floating. So I hurriedly called up a friend and asked him, what should I do? This is when I had not grown as many palms, or and none of this species. So basically he said, force them underwater, take another trash can, put it on top, fill it with water. Went ahead and did that. They all sunk to the bottom after 2 weeks, and I got about 80% germination. So don't give up. If you get a floating seed, don't fret. It could be perfectly fine, and most likely is. It just, when they aren't fresh, they tend to start to float. So it's relatively easy to grow from seed. It's getting it from past that 3 to 7 gallon stage that really is the hard part. And I mean, you can try and just have a well draining soil mix for this plant. It will enjoy that. Keeping the water flowing will be good. Keeping rot away, anything like that, would just to make sure that rot situation does not happen. So I think I've pretty much covered most of this palm. It has become much more common in cultivation lately. I've actually seen them at Home Depot at one point. I don't see them there anymore, but maybe about 5-6 years ago there was a huge influx of them. But they're still relatively sought after, and they're just so nice looking that they are great collector's plants and landscape plants. They can take full sun. They like kind of like partial sun. So also they're relatively cold sensitive. I would say they're a zone 10 A palm. You can get away with them in some 9B, warmer 9B areas. I've seen them growing in parts of like Sarasota areas up into like warmer parts of Tampa. And on the East Coast, I know they're growing up into the Melbourne area, but I've also seen them die around 27 just outright. So it really comes down to where you have the palm, where it's located, and you know, they will kind of burn a little bit in a frost and a freeze, definitely. So, but you can get away with it in a 9B if you really try, and they will actually grow in some drier climates as well. They just don't look as nice as they do in subtropical / tropical climates where there is more humidity. So anyway, I'm gonna leave that there, and hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and if you have any more questions about Carpoxylon, go ahead and leave them below, and I will see you guys next time.